Hi friends, this is Vishnu here. Welcome to my channel Vishnu's Medicine Diaries. So in this video we will be learning about facial nerve. Okay, the facial nerve, the nuclei of facial nerves, the contents, the fibers of the facial nerve, the cores of the facial nerve and their branches. Okay, and this video will be very much useful for all the first year medical students, especially for their exams, and also almost for all the medical students, because this facial nerve is one of the nerves that we encounter in various situations. Okay, that is most of the clinical aspects. Okay, so it's very much important to understand about the various aspects of this facial nerve. Okay, so let's go to the video. So friends, let's learn about the facial nerve. Okay, so first of all, facial nerve, okay, it is the seventh cranial nerve and it has two parts, that is major. The major part is the motor part and a few part, that is the lesser part, that is the sensory part. Okay, and whenever you write for your exam, you have to write like this, and we have to write the other name for the motor part, that is nothing but the facial nerve proper, and the other name for the sensory part is nothing but the nervus intermedius. Okay, and now we have to know what are these nuclei of for each of these motor part as well as the sensory part. Okay, so we have to deal with four different nuclei. Okay, four different nuclei, but before that we have to know about their positions. Okay, so they are located almost near the pontomedullary junction. Okay, pontomedullary junction of the brainstem. Okay, as you can see here, and don't get afraid by seeing the picture. Okay, it is just the sagittal section of your skull. Okay, it is just the sagittal section of your skull, and this cubical box is nothing but the middle ear. Okay, the middle ear is represented by this box. Okay, that's all. I will explain it all clearly. Okay, so yeah, and first of all we will go to the facial nerve proper, that is the motor nucleus. Okay, so we have the motor nucleus as shown here. Okay, you have the motor nucleus as shown here is in the red color, and the peculiarity is that this motor nerve nucleus, okay, almost all the other motor nerves usually arise in such a way that they arise in the forward direction. Okay, they arise forwardly, okay, from the nucleus, but here it goes backwards. Okay, winds around this abducens nerve, that is a sixth nerve nucleus, and hence form a bulge on the posterior part of this brainstem, and thereby on the floor of the, what is the other structure that is close to this? That is nothing but the fourth ventricle. So it forms a bulge on the floor of the fourth ventricle, and that is known as the facial colliculus. Okay, so the facial colliculus, and then it comes out. Okay, and then it comes out as the motor nerve. Okay, that's all. Now let's go to the other three nuclei. Okay, the other three nuclei, that is the sensory nuclei. Okay, so that is forms the sensory fibers. Okay, so the one nucleus is nothing but the nucleus of the parasympathetic nucleus, or the nothing but the superior salivatory nucleus. Okay, you can also tell it as lacrimatory salivatory nucleus. That is, you can correspond. Okay, the name corresponds to its function. Okay, those parasympathetic fibers connect or innervate nothing but the lacrimal glands and also the nothing but the submandibular and the sublingual glands, salivary glands. Okay, and hence the name superior salivatory nucleus or lacrimatory salivatory nucleus. Okay, and they are parasympathetic nucleus. Okay, they also arise like this. Okay, at this cerebellopontine junction. This is because what you see here is a 2D structure. Okay, you can imagine it in 3D. That is the cerebellum. Okay, the flower comes like here. Okay, comes in front also. So it is actually the cerebellopontine junction to be more proper. Okay, you can also tell it to be pontomedullary junction, no problem. So that's all. Now next one. Okay, the next nucleus is nothing but the nucleus tractus solitarius, NTS. Okay, what does it supply? It supplies nothing but the, okay, it detects the sensory, okay, the taste sensations from the anterior 2/3 of the tongue. Okay, taste sensation, remember, only taste sensations, while the touch, pain, temperature, all those sensations of the anterior 2/3 of the tongue are detected by nothing but the lingual nerve, which is internal branch of the mandibular nerve, which is internal branch of the trigeminal nerve. Okay, I will mention about it when I explain all these Okay, the next one, next nucleus, that is nothing but the spinal nucleus. Okay, spinal nucleus of the trigeminal nerve. Okay, and from here what nerves arise? It is nothing but the nerves. Okay, the nerves are detecting the touch, pain and temperature sensations from the external ear. Okay, the external ear. Okay, that's all. So that's all regarding the nuclei. Okay, and all these fibers arise, and these three bundles, okay, these three sensory nerve fibers together form the nervous intermediates. Okay, and all these initially pass through the internal auditory meatus. Okay, this hole, okay, this hole that you see here on the first one, okay, through which it enters, okay, the facial nerve enters, is called as the internal auditory meatus, okay, which is present on the posterior cranial fossa. Okay, internal auditory meatus. Okay, this is our external auditory meatus, and corresponding to that inside the skull, internal auditory meatus. Okay, and it goes to the internal auditory meatus for some extent, and I will tell the course of each of the nerves. First one, our motor nerve. So the motor nerve, what happens to our motor nerve? The motor nerve goes through the internal auditory meatus, and then it enters into the facial canal. Okay, the facial canal. So what happens when it enters the facial canal? Okay, it reaches the labyrinthine. There is a labyrinthine part for it, there is a tympanic part for it, and also another part called as the mastoid part. Okay, I will mention it. Okay, this is the most important point where most of the students feel very difficult to understand from the books. Okay, so I will mention clearly, that is here you can see that this nerve, okay, this facial canal, how it comes. Okay, the nerve fiber, okay, the motor nerve comes like this, and then bends, takes a hairpin bend. Okay, that is a bend, is nothing but a genu, and hence that there is a ganglion there, and that ganglion is called as the geniculate ganglion. Okay, I will tell the importance of that ganglion later. Now just understand that there is a ganglion present there. Okay, it is not a parasympathetic ganglion. Okay, so and then what happens, this facial canal goes through the medial wall. Okay, this genu is formed on the medial wall of the middle ear. Okay, this cubical structure that you have seen is nothing but the middle ear. Okay, the middle ear, and hence it goes through the middle ear. Okay, so this facial canal is coming through the medial wall. Okay, and then it turns towards the posterior side, takes another right angle bend. Okay, as if in a cube, and this through this is seen by the posterior wall. Okay, I have represented the anterior wall using that smiley. Okay, the smiley. Okay, the face is facing anteriorly. Okay, that's why I faced this is actually the anterior side, that side is anterior side, this is the posterior side. So it forms a posterior wall and comes to the posterior wall, and then it goes vertically downwards by again taking a bend. Okay, and this goes downwards and downwards. Okay, and the motor nerve in it also goes like this and comes out of the skull through the stylomastoid foramen. Why is it called as a stylomastoid foramen? Because it is between our styloid process as well as the mastoid. Okay, mastoid process. Okay, so now let's go to the branches of this motor nerve. Okay, the first branch is within the middle ear. That is, middle ear, as you know, it consists of 3 ear ossicles, and one of that is stapes, and there is a muscle associated with stapes called as stapedius, and the nerve to stapedius is the first branch of the facial nerve. Okay, so it is very important, nerve to stapedius. So it innervates the stapedius muscle of the middle ear. Okay, that's all. Okay, what does stapedius muscle do? It regulates the movements of these ear ossicles. That's all. Okay, so this is very important in clinical aspect. Okay, I will mention it later. Now the next branch. Okay, next branch is as soon as it comes out of the stylomastoid foramen. Okay, extracranial of course. Okay, the first branch. Okay, the first branch is a posterior auricular branch which supplies the auricular muscles as well as the the occipital part or occipital head of the occipitofrontalis muscle. Okay, so it goes back like this. And next, the next branches, the nerve to posterior belly of digastric, and other branch, nerve to stylohyoid. And the last branching, the last branching is in the form of two branching, after entering the parotid gland, that is temporofacial trunk as well as the cervicofacial trunk. And this temporofacial trunk is again dividing into two, and the cervicofacial trunk is into three, and this together you can remember it as a palm. The 5 fingers of the palm placed on the head like this. like this. Okay, it is better like this. Okay, that is, this is this thumb. Okay, this thumb is the temporal branch, this index finger the zygomatic branch, and this one the buccal branch. Okay, and this one, okay, it is like this, it is along the margin of the mandible and hence marginal mandibular nerve, and finally the little finger which corresponds to the cervical branch. That's all. Okay, and another important thing to note here is that buccal branch. Okay, the buccal branch is again dividing into upper and lower buccal, which are on upper and lower side of the parotid duct. Okay, on upper and lower side of the parotid duct. Okay, that's all. Okay, that's all regarding the branches of the main part, that is a motor part. Now let's come to the sensory part, because it is also very important in when we consider the facial nerve. Okay, so the first one, that is the regarding the parasympathetic nuclei. Okay, that is superior salivatory nuclei. Okay, it comes in the same way through the internal auditory meatus and up to the genu, but at the genu it divides into two, not a synapse, it is just dividing into two. Okay, it's just dividing into two, and one branch is going, okay, one branch is going to the lacrimal gland, and the other branch, okay, other branch comes down and goes to the submandibular and the sublingual salivary glands. That's all. Okay, how it goes, okay, that is also very important. Okay, I will mention it in a very short manner now. That is this lacrimal gland, how it is going to the lacrimal gland, but nothing through the, okay, through the it forms the greater petrosal nerve. Okay, this branch is called as the greater petrosal nerve, and it goes through the pterygoid canal. Okay, and hence synapses at the pterygopalatine ganglion. Okay, pterygopalatine ganglion is nothing but the ganglion present in the pterygopalatine fossa. Okay, so greater petrosal nerve passes through the pterygoid canal, synapses at the pterygopalatine ganglion, and goes to the lacrimal gland. Okay, through the inferior orbital fissure. Okay, I will mention about that in the later next video. Okay, so the next parasympathetic nerve fiber comes down up to here. Okay, up to the posterior middle part of the posterior part of the canal, facial canal in the middle ear, posterior wall of the middle ear, then comes into the middle ear. Okay, into the box of the middle ear through the posterior canaliculi. Okay, through the posterior canaliculi it comes inward. Okay, that's the difference from the facial nerve. Okay, motor part of the facial nerve. Then what does it do? It comes out through the anterior part of the anterior wall of the middle ear, that is through the pterygotympanic fissure. It comes out. Okay, it comes out, and then what does it do? I have told you that the lingual nerve is coming from the mandibular nerve. Okay, the division of the mandibular nerve. Okay, which is from the trigeminal ganglion. Okay, so it is coming from this. Okay, so it goes along with this lingual nerve. Okay, just like a link express. Okay, for example, it will the link express link trains will be very small trains, so for half of the trip it goes with some other major trains. Okay, as a part of some other major trains, then major train will go to another direction, and this link train will have to go to another direction and its particular destination. For that, it goes and links with another major train which is going to its destination. Okay, like that way our parasympathetic fibers, which was coming along with our facial nerve, then comes as a part of the lingual nerve. Okay, for some extent, and then it goes away from it. Okay, and then goes into the next ganglion, that is the submandibular ganglion, and from that submandibular ganglion neural processes arise which supply the submandibular and our sublingual glands respectively. That's all. Okay, so only up to this much is somewhat difficult. The other two branches are very easy if you have understood up to this. That is, next one is our nucleus of tractus solitarius. So that gets sensations. Okay, that detect the sensations from the anterior two-third of the trunk, the gustatory sensations. So remember the fibers. Okay, you can see the fibers. Okay, the yellow fibers are arising from the anterior two-third of the tongue. Okay, it is going along with this lingual nerve. Okay, it is going along with this lingual nerve, and this is the nerve. Okay, and goes along with the scoda tympani through the posterior canaliculi, then through the facial canal back to the nucleus tractus solitarius. Okay, that's all. Next one. Okay, next one is our nerve fibers from the external ear. Okay, that detects touch, pain and temperature sensations from the external ear. What does it go? it comes as the posterior auricular branch and goes along with the motor part of the facial nerve to the spinal tract of the spinal nuclei of the trigeminal nerve. That's all. Okay. One more thing is very important, that is the importance of the geniculate ganglion. This geniculate ganglion is the one which contains the cell bodies of the fibers, okay, the fibers of the associated with this nucleus tractus solitarius as well as the spinal tract of trigeminal nerve. Okay, that is, we have these fibers. Okay, we have these fibers coming from our anterior two-thirds of the tongue and the external layer. Okay, these are actually peripheral processes of the cell bodies present in the geniculate ganglion. Okay, so the peripheral processes are respectively from the anterior two-thirds of the tongue as well as the other one from the external layer, and the central processes of these respective cell bodies. Okay, these are different cell bodies, and these central processes, okay, central processes is nothing but going towards the central nervous system, CNS, that's all. Okay, so these central process goes towards the respective nuclei. Okay, that's all. Okay, that's the importance of geniculate ganglion. So let me recall once again. Okay, there is nothing but, first one, we have told about the nuclei. We have four different nuclei. Three nuclei of the sensory forms the sensory fibers, nervus intermedius, and one motor nucleus forms the facial nerve proper. So that forms a turn. Okay, that is the facial colliculus. It comes like this through the internal auditory meatus, then goes into the geniculate ganglion. Okay, and then it goes along the medial wall, then to the posterior wall, then down along the posterior wall, and there it gives the branch of nerve to stapedius, then the nerve to posterior auricular branch. Okay, that is to the occipitofrontalis muscle, the occipital part and all. Okay, then the nerve to posterior belly of digastric, then the nerve to stylohyoid, and finally we have the 5 different nerves to the facial expression, muscles of facial expression, the most important extracranial course. Okay, that is the temporal branch, the index finger corresponding to the zygomatic branch, the middle finger corresponding to the buccal branch, this one, okay, corresponding to the marginal mandibular branch, ring finger, and little finger corresponding to the cervical branch. That's all. Now the next one, that is our sensory part, the parasympathetic fibers from the superior salivatory nuclei. Okay, that a name should be given importance. Okay, that supplies our lacrimal gland as well as the submandibular and sublingual glands through the ganglions, the pterygopalatine ganglion and submandibular ganglions respectively. Okay, so we tell about the ganglions only in these two one. Okay, then next one we have the nucleus of tractus solitarius. Nucleus of tractus solitarius means, okay, it detects the gustatory sensations from the anterior two-thirds of the tongue, and we have the cell bodies in the geniculate ganglion. Similarly, the sensation from the external ear. That's all. Okay, these all forms the facial nerve. So that's all about the facial nerve, and if you have any doubts, please feel free to ask me. And the rest of the facial nerve, that is some important details regarding the lacrimator pathway and also regarding the other important points, that is the lesions within the that is a clinical aspect of this facial nerve, will be dealt as a new video. Okay, so if you have not subscribed to my channel till now, please subscribe it as soon as possible, and at the same time please share it with your friends, to your college groups and all. So